A single sentence changed everything. A woman stood in the middle of a crowded antique auction, laughed at an aging woodworker's rough hands, and declared that his craft belonged in the past. Just 3 weeks later, with tears running down her face and her family's priceless dining table shattered beyond recognition, she searched every workshop in town, hoping the same man she had humiliated would agree to save the one piece of her family's history that money could never replace. Sometimes the greatest masterpieces are not made of wood alone, they are built from patience, humility, forgiveness, and second chances. If you believe kindness is never wasted, forgiveness is stronger than pride, and everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community. Every morning before sunrise painted the sky with warm shades of gold, Rowan Mercer unlocked the weathered doors of his little woodworking shop on the edge of the town square. His workshop smelled of cedar, walnut, and fresh pine, carrying memories that no machine could ever create. His hands were rough with decades of honest labor, marked by tiny scars that told stories of countless pieces restored with love. While modern furniture factories promised perfection in minutes, Rowan believed every piece of wood had its own heartbeat, its own history, and its own chance to live again. Most people who entered his shop left with more than repaired furniture. They left carrying stories that had been preserved for another generation. Across town, Celeste Hawthorne lived in a grand historic home that had belonged to her family for over a century. She had inherited the house after years of building a successful interior design business known for sleek modern luxury. Her work was admired in magazines, and wealthy clients trusted her taste completely. To Celeste, handcrafted furniture often seemed outdated, too slow, too imperfect for the polished world she had created. She believed efficiency and appearance mattered more than tradition, and although she respected history in theory, she rarely understood the hearts behind old craftsmanship. One bright afternoon the town hosted its annual Heritage Market, where local artisans displayed everything from handmade quilts to glass sculptures and carved furniture. Rowan quietly arranged several handcrafted rocking chairs and a beautifully restored writing desk that had taken months to complete. Visitors admired his work, but many simply walked past after checking the price, choosing factory-made pieces instead. Celeste arrived as the guest judge for the artisan competition. Dressed elegantly and surrounded by photographers, she moved confidently from booth to booth offering opinions. When she reached Rowan's display, she examined one of his carved oak tables with a brief smile that quickly disappeared. She lightly tapped the polished surface and shook her head with visible disappointment. She remarked loudly enough for nearby visitors to hear that beautiful craftsmanship was charming but worthless in today's world because people wanted speed, convenience, and flawless factory finishes. Several people laughed politely. Rowan simply lowered his eyes, gently brushed a layer of sawdust from the tabletop, and thanked her for taking the time to look. He never argued. The silence in his response carried far more dignity than any sharp reply could have. Many of the young apprentices working nearby felt angry on Rowan's behalf, but he quietly reminded them that respect never loses its value simply because someone else forgets theirs. The festival continued, yet the memory of the public embarrassment lingered in the hearts of everyone who witnessed it. 3 weeks later, a violent plumbing failure flooded the first floor of Celeste's historic home during a sunny afternoon while restoration workers were replacing old pipes. Most of the furniture was moved in time, but the enormous walnut dining table that had belonged to her great-grandparents absorbed water before collapsing under its own weakened weight as workers attempted to lift it. One leg snapped, deep cracks spread across the tabletop, and several carved edges shattered onto the floor. Insurance could replace furniture. Wealth could purchase another antique. But this table carried generations of birthdays, weddings, reunions, apologies, and final farewells. Tiny pencil marks hidden underneath recorded the heights of children who had long grown old. A faint burn near one corner came from her grandfather accidentally setting down a hot kettle decades earlier. Every imperfection held a memory no auction house could sell. Professional restoration companies examined the damage over the next several days. One after another they quietly admitted the same painful truth. They could rebuild something similar, but they could never truly restore what had been lost. Some suggested replacing major sections entirely. Others recommended building a replica. None understood that a replica could never carry the soul of the original. An elderly museum curator who visited the house looked carefully at the broken pieces before giving one simple piece of advice. He said there was only one craftsperson in the county who still repaired wood without erasing its history. He handed Celeste Rowan Mercer's business card. The drive to Rowan's workshop felt longer than any journey Celeste had ever taken. Pride became heavier with every mile. She rehearsed countless explanations, yet none sounded sincere enough. When she finally stepped inside, the familiar scent of cedar surrounded her. Rowan looked up from repairing an old rocking chair. His face showed surprise but no bitterness. Celeste placed photographs of the shattered table across his workbench before quietly admitting that she had been wrong. She confessed that she had mistaken speed for value and perfection for beauty. As she struggled to describe what the table meant to her family, tears landed on the faded photographs. She explained that 4 generations had gathered around the table and that losing it felt like losing the last connection to people she could never see again. Rowan studied every picture without interruption. After several long moments, he gently closed the folder and agreed to examine the table in person. He made no mention of the festival, the laughter, or the humiliation. Instead, he simply asked whether every broken piece had been saved because even the smallest fragment might still belong in its original place. The restoration began the following morning beneath bright streams of sunlight pouring through the workshop windows. Rowan refused to rush. Every crack was carefully cleaned rather than hidden. Broken sections were patiently reunited using traditional joinery techniques almost forgotten by modern furniture makers. Missing fibers were replaced with wood harvested from a walnut tree nearly identical in age to the original. Instead of erasing scars, Rowan blended them gently into the design so the table would remember everything it had survived. As the weeks passed, Celeste visited often. Rather than standing back, she offered to help with simple tasks. Rowan patiently taught her how to sand delicate edges without removing their character. She learned that craftsmanship demanded listening as much as skill. Wood revealed its needs only to those willing to slow down. One afternoon Rowan shared that his late father had taught him never to repair furniture simply to make it look new. A true restoration honored every chapter of its life. Those words settled deeply inside Celeste's heart because she realized people deserved the same grace. No one should be judged only by appearances or first impressions. News of the remarkable restoration quietly spread throughout town. Residents who had witnessed the embarrassing moment at the Heritage Market were surprised to discover Rowan had accepted the project without resentment. Many stopped by simply to watch him work. Young students asked questions about traditional woodworking. Parents brought children to see that patience could still create wonders in a world obsessed with shortcuts. When the final polish was applied, the dining table seemed almost alive again. The fractures remained visible only to careful eyes, not as flaws but as reminders that broken things could become beautiful without pretending they had never been broken. The table returned home on a bright autumn afternoon. As Rowan and several neighbors carefully carried it into the dining room, sunlight streamed through the tall windows, illuminating every carved detail. Celeste's family gathered around in complete silence. Her elderly aunt gently traced one repaired crack with trembling fingers before smiling through tears. She whispered that the table looked exactly like their family, changed by hardship, marked by loss, yet still standing together. A few months later, the Heritage Market returned. This time the largest crowd gathered around Rowan's workshop display. But before the judges announced any awards, Celeste stepped onto the small stage and requested a moment to speak. She openly admitted that she had once believed handcrafted work had no place in the modern world. She confessed that she had publicly embarrassed a man whose quiet integrity later rescued something priceless from disappearing forever. She explained that the true value of craftsmanship could never be measured by speed or profit because it protected memories that families carried for generations. The audience rose in heartfelt applause. Rowan looked uncomfortable with the attention, but his humble smile reflected something greater than recognition. It reflected peace. The apprentices standing beside him realized they had witnessed far more than a restored table. They had witnessed a restored heart. From that day forward, Celeste used her success to support local artisans instead of replacing them. Her design projects proudly featured handcrafted furniture alongside modern spaces, proving that tradition and innovation could strengthen one another instead of competing. Rowan continued opening his workshop every morning with the same quiet routine, never seeking fame, because he understood the greatest reward was knowing another family's memories would survive long after he was gone. Before this story comes to its close, take a moment to leave a meaningful comment. Have you ever been judged unfairly, or have you ever been given a second chance that changed your life? Your words may encourage someone who needs hope today. The restored table remained at the center of every family gathering for years to come. New scratches appeared from children's art projects, fresh laughter echoed during holiday meals, and another generation added tiny height marks beneath the tabletop. Every new memory rested beside the old ones because one humble craftsman chose forgiveness instead of pride. His greatest creation was never the table itself. It was the reminder that kindness can repair what arrogance breaks, that patience outlasts applause, and that the strongest hands are often the gentlest. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May we always remember that people, like precious wood, should never be valued only by their appearance, because with compassion, care, and forgiveness, even what seems broken beyond repair can become more beautiful than ever before.